Hello everyone, this is DJ,
Andrew,
and this is CG Talks, the podcast where CG guys talk about CG. And CG means, of course, computer graphics, and this is a vast territory with a lot of different dimensions, 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions, X dimensions, whatever you call it. And we are going to try to venture in all those uncharted territories with our special guest today, which is Mathias Zamęcki, a very talented, young but super experienced artist, CG artist with a big portfolio of work for high-end game development companies and names including like Blizzard, CD Projekt Red, Digital Domain, just to name a few, and many more, like titles like League of Legends. And he calls himself an visual development artist, art director, illustrator, and a storyteller. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's not waste time and let's welcome our guest, Mathias Zamęcki, and let him tell us his story. So,
hi guys, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm not sure what do you want to hear first.
Yeah, I would like to know what really made you want to be a CG artist. Like,
it's pretty funny story, but it starts when I was I think it was in high school, and I was playing MMORPG games at that time, and my computer was really shitty, so most of the new games were not available for me, and with those MMORPG games, there was always some kind of forum where you can like share your knowledge about the monsters and stuff like that. And it always be with those old school forums, you will always have those signatures with the logo and your nickname or whatever. And it turns out that people are like doing those inside of Photoshop, and I was like, maybe I will learn. I always like to draw. So I learned Photoshop and I start doing those really wacky, super ugly with bevel and emboss effect, those signatures. And after that, I think it was around that time the YouTube was not founded but started, and I stumbled upon a video of a guy, and he was drawing in Photoshop John Locke from Lost series, and it blows my mind that someone can draw on the computer. And I was like started to researching this topic, what do you need and stuff like that, and I found out that you need to have a drawing tablet, and so the drawing tablet will transfer your like line to on the computer. Right now it feels funny, but at that time it was a super niche subject. So I bought my first Wacom tablet. It was like the size of I think it was a working space. It was around the size of the phone. It was mainly designed to sign the documents online, not to draw. So it was like super small, and I started drawing in it in Photoshop. And it turns out that you need to know how to draw. It's not like the program will draw this for you. So I start slowly learning how to draw I start researching books about drawing. I sign up on Max 3D and conceptart.org, and I start posting my artworks and gathering feedback from people. Around that time, there was not that much knowledge in terms of how to draw. There was not many YouTube channels, so it was like scattered everywhere over the internet. So I tried to be resourceful, and I was looking for ways to improve my craft.
So, what was your first big challenge when you started drawing, especially in Photoshop?
To be honest, I don't remember. It was like 14 years ago.
Oh.
So I don't remember what was my first biggest challenge. Probably the hand and eye coordination. Like
Mhm.
it was like it was all old a tablet, so it didn't have a screen, so you didn't see what you're drawing. You only need to look on
Oh.
Yeah.
a monitor. So it's like this old version of tablets. So probably this, but mainly I think the problem was not with the program. The problem was with me not having the I didn't learn fundamentals yet in terms of drawing and form, perspective, and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I guess this technical like interface barrier is like it's difficult with this tablet. It's like kind of a little bit better than drawing with a mouse, but still it's like the surface is not the same as the screen that you're watching, so it's a little bit different than when you're drawing like with the traditional media, right?
Yeah,
You still need
I
to
would
kind of like relearn stuff, like learning drawing for the like writing for the first time or something like that. It's something like different things for the brain and for the hand to learn.
Yeah, I think I'm doing this for for so long that I don't remember this frustration, but probably it was in the beginning. It was frustrating. Right now I have a monitor tablet, but I'm still using it for the most part of my day as a flat laying on the desk. So so it's an old habit.
So,
Especially it's way better for wrist health. It's way better to use tablet than a mouse.
so guys are using these tablets, these huge video tablets, like vertically, like working on the canvas traditionally.
I would say that majority of people using them around 45-degree angle.
Mhm.
It's more like a old architect table
Mhm.
angle. I haven't seen anyone using the tablet vertically.
No. I noticed that for example, I also have a tablet, but mostly all the time I was drawing with pencil on paper, and
Mhm.
even though I have my, let's say, line, which I'm happy with, like I have control over it. When I tried to start drawing with tablet, it's like I lost 80% of my skills. It's like I completely can't feel how strongly I press the pencil, and I have the specific line. So I
Mhm.
guess this is like you learning a different tool, like I don't know, drawing with coal or with pastels or something like
Mhm.
that. Doesn't translate such like immediately.
Yeah, that's true. In the beginning, I have this issue, and I mean, for the most years, I was more painting than drawing, and it's easier to paint because you deal with shapes and colors and bigger brushes, you don't need that much of the accuracy in terms of like line quality and straight lines and stuff like that. But since I started drawing more, I first bought an iPad to draw more, and I treat it as a sketchbook. Then I went back to my tablet, and it turns out that the accuracy is a bit bad. So that's why I bought the screen tablet to have this accuracy.
But I guess when you had this first tablet, which was not created for painting or drawing,
Mhm.
was very small. Were there any like constraints or something that you actually forced you to use some kind of techniques because it was such a tough tool to use?
It was budgetary reason only.
Uh-huh.
I was extremely poor when I was younger, so maybe not extremely poor, but a poor kid. So I bought the cheapest tablet that I was able to buy.
Yeah, I was just curious if there was some side effect, like positive side effect of using this kind
I
of.
don't think so.
No.
No, I don't think so.
It's I noticed that like I studied architecture,
Mhm.
and um when we studied, we had these drawing lessons, and we had to draw on big formats like one
Yeah.
meters times 70 centimeters. And I noticed that most of people would draw in high school, like in their last page of their
Yeah. Notebooks.
notebook or something like that. But it's quite easy to move from drawing from on big format to smaller format. For me, it was very difficult to move from smaller format to this huge format. Because I don't know why. Like,
Yeah, I think it's the matter of because we draw so small, uh, and our I mean, like if you are drawing on a small format, your face is really close to the paper,
mhm.
and then when you have like a big piece of paper, you need to step back and almost draw from from a straight arm.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is like the biggest challenge usually for people to transition from small format to the bigger one.
Yeah. Also, I think this is similar to work in 3D. So basically, there is a bigger, bigger surface to
Hmm.
draw. Then so you need to somehow deal. I mean, you need to deliver some information on this huge format, and on a small one, you can go do that with some little hacks.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
on a huge one, it's like with 3D when you try to, for example, I would take some abstract work which looked
Mm.
very cool, and it was trying to do 3D, and in 3D it didn't work because 3D needed detail. It was not.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So I noticed that I went through your Instagram, and I
Hmm.
noticed one thing that was very very interesting for me, that you created this pyramid of learning skills. And
Hmm.
I understand that learning by doing is like on the bottom. This is like understandable, but I was very surprised that you, as a even more basic way of learning, the very bottom of pyramid was teaching others. So
Hmm.
why is this? So basically, does it mean that this is the most important way of learning, like the most powerful?
I would say so, yeah, because if you want to teach someone, you need to understand the subject deeply,
Mhm.
and you need to uh, have an ability to express this abstract idea in a simple terms using a really simple language. and with drawing you need to know how to visualize the thing you want to draw. And I think uh, teaching someone else will show you the lack of understanding in this subject really deeply.
Yeah, it's like you can rely on intuition when you do something, but when
Exactly.
you need to describe it, you need to kind of get aware of it of this. So doesn't, well, you do this like that. Why?
Yeah, exactly. You need to dig really deeply and try to reverse. Sometimes you need to reverse engineer what you're doing with your unconsciousness and try to describe this so other person will understand this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess I can relate that when I started making tutorials on YouTube, it kind of gave me so much awareness of what I don't really deeply understand, or at
yeah,
least it's, sometimes you can just fake it somehow, fake it, or at least, just go with the flow, and it somehow gets you through the project, but you don't really, then you find that you sometimes can't replicate the same effect easily, because you
exactly.
don't have like the conscious movements there. So it's probably, making a tutorial is like, I've heard Andrew Price that mentioned that the Blender Guru, he was doing that
Mhm.
he was doing every scene that he's teaching in the tutorial like 3 times or something like that. maybe
Yeah,
maybe I didn't do that much, but I think it's kind of like at least demanded that you at least like do it twice, so that you kind of like get through the process once again consciously. Maybe first time
yeah,
just
definitely.
just do it, and then like rethink it, how it was really done, just to be able to.
Yeah, it's also like nowadays I record everything that I'm painting or creating in 3D or whatever, just to uh, just for sake of archiving those things firstly, and second I can use this as a video tutorial later. And if I stumble upon some new discoveries, I also have the recorded version of those steps that I took to create something. Uh, yeah, yeah.
Do you rewatch these recordings to learn something or check back something?
It happens sometimes when I'm going back, for example, I'm switching styles to create some kind of artwork. I recently did this. I did this Tatra painting, and then I did create a animation out of it. But it was like more graphic, stylized work, and I didn't this for a while. So I went to YouTube and I watched my old tutorial that I did of a painting from Wroclaw uh, to get into the groove quicker, to
Mhm.
get to this mindset faster, because I didn't remember uh, how I achieved those small details that I was lacking in the new artwork. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty useful.
yeah. So uh, um, when you taught others, because you place this on the very bottom of the pyramid,
Hmm.
do you remember like one thing that you learned from teaching others that you know that you wouldn't learn any other way, just like some your lesson from teaching
Hmm.
others?
I mean, I don't have that much of teaching experience. I did few public speaking, and I teach few people, but it never been on a bigger scale. So it's hard for me to recall any any piece of information, but I usually try to make notes when I finish. Especially in the past 2 years, I tried to create some kind of how they call this. Wait up. Like after you finish project, you make your list of. Wait up.
Like a postmortem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, postmortem. Exactly. So like a list of things that went well, things I learned,
Enough.
things that should be improved in the next project and stuff like that. Yeah, that's super helpful, and it's also like gives me uh, gives me an idea to what should I learn. Or, I mean, what not. It gives me idea on what should I write on social media, and I already have some bunch of text that I can edit and use this in a when I'm posting this images. Because
Yes.
sometimes it was like I was painting something and I was like, what should I write under this? Should I only use hashtags or should I write something compelling? And there was blank page inside of my head. I didn't know what to write, and with those with this post mortem and doing notes along the side of the project, this gave me some idea to what I was thinking and what I can write to the people
Yeah.
that are following me.
So if you can recall really like the teaching experience that taught you so much, like you have a pretty long story of different jobs, like game dev related jobs,
Hmm.
generally creative jobs of different kinds. Can you
Yeah.
recall like a specific job that you remember that you really learned the most of, and what it was?
Hmm.
If you can, of course,
So
if you can share
yeah,
some
yeah,
information on
yeah.
that.
With like living in Poland and working with people from US or UK or whatever, like outside of Poland, is the thing is they usually hire me because I'm the specialist and they know I will deliver what they are asking for. So it's mostly I need to be higher in terms of my skills. They first they buy insurance and they buy a product, image or whatever. So in most cases, I already know how to create something, uh, and I show this in my portfolio. And then people are hiring me for that position. So, for example, we were doing this short film with a friend of mine from Poznań, and I was art directing this project. And after that project came out, I started to get a job request for art direction. Not before, because it's harder to get. It's like the chicken and egg dilemma, like how I can become an art director. Oh, you need to art direct the project. How can you art direct the project, or you need to be art director? So
Well, I heard a funny thing in Alberto Mielgo's talk. The guy,
yeah.
the guy that was running the Spider-Verse movie, like
Yeah.
the visual concept of this, and he was talking like how he became art director, and he said like I was working in a studio somewhere, and some day a guy came into the studio and asked who's the art director for this project, and he just came up and said I'm the art director. So that's how you become art director. It's a funny
Yeah,
story,
that's
but
true.
it's true to some
Yeah.
extent, right?
Yeah, that's true. When you are working in studio, it's easier, definitely easier to show that you're like willing to take more responsibilities and show that you care about the project and stuff like that. But when it comes to working as a freelancer, you need to show the proof that you are capable of doing that. And the best thing you can do is to create your own project. So I usually try to learn on my project, on my personal work, and then I can show the proof that I am capable. That's why I'm saying that I don't learn that much on a project, because I already have most of the answers, because people are paying for this first, and then for the images or animation or render or whatever.
So when some companies, some projects want to hire you and they are looking through your portfolio, so
Yeah.
what elements are decisive for them? Like, for example, now I'm watching on Back from the Dead illustration. This is some kind of fantasy illustration. So are they looking for, okay, we are doing fantasy project, so this guy can pull off the fantasy vibe, and we are going to hire him, or there's something else?
To be honest, I don't entirely know how they making the decisions, because it's behind the wall of the internet. So I usually just get a email that's saying, we saw this and that, and we're making this project, and your style is similar to what we are doing. Would you like to work with us?
So for example,
I wanted to ask, like, because you were talking about this kind of freelance jobs,
Mhm.
and I'm pretty sure that a lot of our audience is wondering, like, maybe they have full-time gigs in some companies, or maybe they are trying the freelancing jobs themselves. Like, do you have like a formula that works for you to keep your jobs coming, right? Like stable income of some sort, or at least
Yeah.
stable enough.
Yeah, in my case, it was like I was working in studio, and then I get fired, and I was desperate enough to look for work. And in the first year of my freelance journey, it was not like there is a lot of concept artists saying, "Oh, this studio came to me and asked for whatever," and I said yes, and happily ever after. Uh, in my case, it was like I get fired. Uh, I was desperate to find a new work, and I start like sending cold emails like crazy. For the first year, I think I sent like 600 of emails to, not necessarily to the companies, but to the individuals, uh, individual people that I found on LinkedIn or IMDb. I did the research, finding those people, what they were doing, and writing really compelling email that highlight what they were doing, so it not looks like a copy paste message. So they feel like it's directed to them. And I know that people are usually lazy, so I usually add a few examples of my works in the attachment. So if they were open the email, even if they don't click the link, they will see my work, and maybe this will grab their attention. So yeah, that was the formula. I usually, my formula with everything that I'm doing is the path of least resistance. So the easier people can find me, the bigger chance of me to show my work on their screens.
Oh, so
basically.
what is the easiest way to find you, or to find a concept artist online?
to find me,
Mhm.
just you need to type my name and my last name to Google, and you will find every link,
S-
every nickname on every platform is my name and my last name.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask about this one, like a question, like in a
Yeah.
different vibe. So,
Hmm.
do you, after all those years of working, do you consider yourself celebrity? Because I found a link on celebs pages or celebsages.com, like
Yeah.
stating your age and stuff like that. So, a page containing like celebrity gossip stuff, like
I think it's like this bot page
yeah,
that is looking for high following Instagram accounts, or I don't know, they copying this from Social Blade because most of uh, the information out there are not real from what I was checking last time.
yeah.
Uh, let me check this. What is the name of the website?
I think it was celebsages.com. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was like a kind of a bot page. I
Yeah,
just wanted to
yeah.
make it like a joke because we were talking about this with Von Link, who was working like some kind
Mm-hmm,
of like a background job in the concept department, working on the Spider-Verse movie,
mm-hmm.
and he was like one of these guys who can proudly say that they were a part of a big and prestigious project. But
Mm-hmm.
these are like really the hardworking artists that are behind the scenes and never really get to being being the celebrity
Yeah,
that you can much more easy become, going to some kind of a reality show or whatever, and become
yeah,
famous
yeah,
for just doing really nothing, but I don't know,
yeah.
something stupid on the
Famous from
camera.
being famous.
Yeah.
So I can say that if somebody would like to do some kind of specific job, like in your case, this is art directing, and you
Mm-hmm.
want to break through, basically the best way is to just not wait for somebody to appoint you or ask you, just
Yeah.
do it yourself,
Don't
right?
don't wait for permission to
Mhm.
to do. Just create a project that it's so good that people will not ignore you, basically. So the clearest example from my portfolio is the robot animation that I did in Blender. Roughly like 4 or 5 times a year, I get the message or email if I'm available for 2D animation job, and I never animate in 2D professionally,
Oh, nice.
because yeah, the level of this animation was high enough to trick people to believe that I'm capable of doing.
Mhm.
Like, this was a proof that the insurance, as I mentioned before, that I am capable artist to do that kind of job.
Yeah, I'm just watching on this thing, random story moment. So basically,
Hmm.
there's one with these birds, and the
Hmm.
second one with this cat. So
Yeah,
basically, this is the idea that this is like a shot from some movie, animated movie, which
yeah,
in fact didn't exist, but you did it as if it was like a part of
exactly,
something.
exactly. Yeah, as I said, it's basically you need to trick people to.
So it was kind of like a pilot episode, like a pitch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's everything. It's about that. It's pitching
I
on
would
every stage.
I would watch the animation with these birds. It really
Yeah,
looks
me
like
too.
some part of something bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
Maybe someday.
we kind of scratched like two areas, like two dimensions of your
Mhm.
working experience. Like you were starting as a matte painter, right, or at least painting in
Ac-
Photoshop, but and then we kind of scratched the area of 3D. Like
mhm.
how do you find these two worlds, 2D and 3D, and which one do you like more, or which
Mhm.
one do you have more experience with?
Gotcha. I mean, my first job in the industry was I was working as a I mean, the company was so small. It was like 7 people, and we were doing games on iOS and Android, like small uh, Diablo ripoffs or whatever. And the company was so small, so I was responsible for level design, 3D characters, animation, textures, environments. We didn't do concept art, but if you're like responsible for a whole character or creature, you're designing this in 3D. So I was doing this for 2 years. I get fired.
Why did you?
uh, I moved to part time as a part time artist in that company, and they found another person that were willing to work for the same amount of money that I was working, but full time. So
Mhm.
they just switch me for that person, and I'm totally okay with that. But yeah, I was working there for 2 years, and in the same time I was working on my concept art portfolio, because I thought that this 3D journey was only for me to get money around that time.
Mhm.
And then I was working for agency for the next 2.5 year, doing all bunch of stuff like my matte painting, but also some simple 3D, but mostly concepts and matte paintings. Uh, yeah, and working again, working on my portfolio, because I was working there as a on a part-time basis, like 20 hours a week. So I have plenty of time to develop my own stuff, and still I have enough money to live a comfortable life. So it was pretty good deal around that time, because I have a lot of time, so I can develop more stuff. And after 2 years, I get fired again. A similar reason. The 2D art department was too big for the budget, and I was like a part-time employee, so I was first choice to cut off.
No loose ends.
Yeah.
So yes, so I guess this is advice for people if you want to stay at the company,
Yeah.
work full time. But
Yeah, exactly.
if you want to develop your style and like take charge of your career, then part time is good, because and of course if you are using this extra time to not
Yeah.
for the chilling, but to really work on your bigger goals.
Yeah, I mean, around that time, I started to get some traction online, so it was not that hard to. I mean, the freelance was after this second layoff. The freelance was on and off, but as I mentioned before, when I applied this tactic with sending cold emails, it gets easier and more not streamlined, but a lack of word, like consistent.
Mhm. So this sending emails
Mhm.
with your portfolio, it worked, right? You got jobs this way.
Yeah, out of like 600 emails, maybe like 10% answer,
Mhm.
or maybe more, and then like out of this, another 10 or 20% said that write back saying that this looks cool, but we don't have any project around that time.
Mm.
And out of this 600, maybe like seven people said that they want to work with you and they have projects. So that's enough for you, that's enough number of leads that you need to for a whole year, for example. If they take you for like 2 or 3 months, like 6 people is enough.
Mm-hmm. Did it happen that some of these guys who didn't answer answered later because it worked in a way that they remembered you somewhere in their heads?
Yeah, yeah, that happened. That happened. I think it was like after like 2 years, they were looking for concept artist, and someone passed my portfolio to someone else, not directly related to that email list.
Because it's like, I think this is a question of many artists, especially in times where there was no internet, but even now, like there's that automatic response. Thank you. We will keep you in mind and we'll let you know. And then everybody thinks, okay, will they, or this is just a thing they say? Or
depending on who you're sending to the email. If you're sending to HR, they will keep you in the base, but you never know how big the base is. But if you're like sending this to art director or producer, it's bigger chance to like the higher you can get the in a chain of command, the better. So the sending this to art director and like sending another email in like 3 to 6 months and sending like completely new portfolio with improved stuff, it will only show them that you are willing to learn and you are improving fast, blah blah blah.
Yeah, you are going somewhere, and
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm interested because I'm just looking on the works for Warhammer and Skavens, and so my favorite creatures from Warhammer. And so basically, when you get this kind of job, like for example, these concept arts for Warhammer, why your clients need these illustrations? What they do get from them and what they do from them? Because I also read in other your parts of your portfolio that, for example, there was this, I think this is based in Second World War, this like horror movie that you
Yeah.
wrote. I was happy that it was actually used in the movie. So it's like, what's the use and goal of what's the use of these images for your clients which you create?
When it comes to Warhammer, it was I think they used those artworks as a loading screen or some kind of end of campaign illustration slash animation, because I know they project this on planes and did some kind of like small animation, like particles and whatever. And with Overlord, I think
So it was that place with these concrete walls, I think.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
part
yeah,
of-
yeah. I try to remember. I was happy that I was working directly with the production designer and art director. It was not about that they use. I mean, sometimes you are working as a concept artist and you're like making so many iterations, and in the end they choose some other designs. And I think in this case, it was those designs were pretty similar in the final product, because those were concepts, and they need to build those places like from scratch.
So in some cases, like Warhammer, these images
Mhm.
were used like as
As an
they
asset.
were.
Yeah,
As
as an asset.
in
Yeah.
some cases, this is just like a half product for other
Yeah,
guys.
exactly. Like a blueprint, what they want in the end.
So I'm very curious about Warhammer because
Yeah,
I
sure.
love Warhammer, and so let's say you got this topic Skavens. So what kind of informations and source materials did you get to create it, like I don't know, Skaven's brand identity book or something like that. So
With projects like this, the art direction is pretty much set up. It was almost the end of this project, so the art direction was set up properly. I get screenshots from the game of the models and stuff like that, and they were like super picky, not picky, but like super specific about the weapons and the designs of the characters and stuff like that. So yeah,
so this is all created, like all these signs and language, visual
yeah,
language of this.
yeah. So
Yeah,
there was not, it was more like an illustrative work rather than concepting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I've seen just one
Okay,
more
okay.
thing. I've seen this works.
Ooh, we have technical issues.
I
Sorry,
think
it wasn't me.
yeah.
It wasn't me,
There's-
Andrew. So let me ask my questions then.
Sure.
I mean, you were we were talking about knowing where you're going, like when you're approaching new jobs, and
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you like your personal perspective. What it is like for you right now? Like, what's your big goal or dream that you would like to achieve? Like, where you're trying to
Mhm.
head towards? Like, I've seen
Yeah.
you've
So
done game dev, animation, maybe, I don't know.
yeah. So like one of my goals 10 years ago was to be an art director, and luckily this happened sooner than I expected. Uh, so I feel like for the next 10 years I want to either direct a short film or sell a IP, a pitch, or basically like I want to be. I don't want to be an art director. I want to be a director. So to have more control over the projects.
Do you
Yeah.
mean like your own screenplay? Like you have your stories?
Yeah, exactly. My own original IP, and with that a movie or a TV series or something like that.
Yeah,
Like it happens already. It starts to happenings already. Like concept artists making those art books, like Stalenhag. I don't remember his first name. Simon Stalenhag.
Mhm.
He sold his art book, and they created Amazon TV series based on that world. So it's definitely possible to do that.
it's a good moment with this boom of HBO,
Definitely.
Netflix, and all of that.
Yeah. It's a great time to be alive because, as you said, it's a fight between big streaming platforms. So they are like constantly looking for new projects and new ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, if you have a strong pitch and screenplay, or even fully made animatic of the episode or whatever, it's again it's about insurance.
Insurance that so what I understand is
Yeah, you are
that
capable of doing
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I at some point I've heard, I think it was comedian, I think Louis C.K. or one
Mm.
of these stand-up comedians. He said that as he progressed in his career, of course he would have better and better performances,
Mhm.
but he noticed that what really made him professional is that his worst performances were
Mhm.
at the better and better stable level. So people who would hire him or take him, they knew, okay, even this is not going to be fantastic work,
Mhm.
then at least this is not going to be you know uh
Yeah,
botch.
definitely. Like
Yeah.
if you showing like 5 artworks or 10 artworks, and they are on in a different level, people will hesitate if they are on. People will always hire person that the level of artworks is average, like more stable, than person that have one extremely good artwork and then few really bad ones. They definitely hire the first person. Yeah.
So what are your inspirations when it comes to art? Like, or like not necessarily from your own specialization, like concept
Mhm.
art, but for example, like directors, movies,
Mhm.
what kind of stuff?
So when it comes to movies, definitely animation is my biggest inspiration. Uh, I never felt to. I never felt like I want to create a game, but I always love movies and animation. That's why even though I was working on some game projects, they usually were around either an illustration or cinematic, because cinematic is just a short animation project or commercial. People call them cinematics, but it's basically a commercial. So in terms of my inspiration, probably my favorite, even though I am known as that Ghibli guy, my favorite animation director is Satoshi Kon. He made a Paprika and Perfect Blue. Some people know that, but Darren Aronofsky and Nolan were directly stealing in the shots from his animation in his project. There is this video on YouTube. If you type Satoshi Kon, there is a compilation of literally just shot by shot stealing or inspiration out of his animation, because he's like, this is another level of. And I love animation because and I feel like it's a valid medium. There is a lot of people like saying that it's for kids, or it's a less medium that a movie or whatever. But for me, I feel like it's superior, because you can have everything that you have in a movie, and on top of that you have the not artistry, but like the art direction, and you can go in places that you will not go in the movies. Like you
Yes.
can steer the audience differently than in a movie.
So now when you're working on a script, or this is going to be something different, like words, not images, but you would need to.
Yeah. For the past 2 years, I'm reading a lot about story structure and how to write a script and stuff like that. And I learn for the past 2 years, I learning more about storyboarding and animation, pipeline and stuff like that. I took few courses online, which they helped me a lot with storyboarding. And now I'm almost done with one of my projects that I'm doing for the past 6 months, and then I will go more towards writing and creating my own scripts.
So is that your new project, like short animated movie? Is it somewhere on your art station? Like there's
No, not
sneak
yet.
peek? Mhm.
No. There are a few places that you can see that, but I didn't make much of the like the sharing online about it, because you get the same level of dopamine hits from just saying about stuff and just showing the works. So I try to keep my level of dopamine in check
Mhm. But if I
to finish
understand,
this project.
I get it. I get it. Yeah. This
Because
is
when you're like talking about the project, it's harder to finish it because you already talk about it. So it's almost like it happened. I mean, in human brain, at least that's how this works.
yes.
So when you
Since-
have like a longer project, it's better to postpone the sharing part.
Yeah, I think I know it. It's like you can basically kill the idea if you
Yeah,
share it too much at early stage.
yeah, exactly.
But right now, when it comes to sharing your work, or for example, let's say you have this project on in development, this short
Mhm.
movie, did you ever had a like this anxiety? Hey, I will put out some idea, somebody would steal that from me before I actually finish and pitch it. Like, did you have
Mm,
this kind of worry?
I think there is so many, like, first of all, there is not much new ideas. It's more about execution of the
Mm-hmm.
idea, and like people are like, idea is not a project.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to put the work to create the project, and like no one cares. Like everyone have an ideas.
Uh-huh.
So it's
And
like
I wanted
idea
to,
is worthless.
yeah,
Yeah, I
When
mean,
I wanted to
uh,
ask about this
mhm.
dopamine thing and sharing your work, because
Yeah, sure.
you share a lot of things in your social media, like tutorials,
Gotcha.
different
Hmm.
stuff, and I'm wondering how do you manage to keep a balance, like a healthy balance of going full on with all the social media and doing
Hmm.
your freelance work and also your like passion projects and all that stuff, and keep them in a healthy balance. Do you have like a formula for
Uh,
that that's working for you?
with this one, it was like a lot of trial and error. In the beginning, uh, there was a lot of ups and downs when it comes to sharing stuff. Like why this artwork was more popular than the other, or I I put so much work in it, or whatever. But after a while, you get, first of all, you get a bit desensitized uh, with sharing, and second thing is that uh, they change algorithm so much that you don't have uh, you don't have uh, lack of words. Mm. You're not entirely sure if that was your fault in the end, because maybe they, like, this is like this is like this super shitty thing about Instagram right now. You share the artwork and you feel like, oh, this artwork should go to, like, let's say I have 50,000 followers on Instagram. This artwork should appear on the screen of 50,000 people, but this doesn't work like that way, because it Instagram is sharing this to 5% of those people, and if they were liking or commenting on this artwork, uh, then after hour or two it will share to more people, another 5%, and it will like go with those walls. uh, and if the post will be like really good in terms of performance, it will show on the explore page or whatever. So that sucks, because there is a lot of bots on Instagram. So let's say you have 50,000 followers, and out of that, 20 of those are like inactive bots. and your post goes to those inactive dead accounts, and Instagram is thinking, oh, okay, so this didn't perform well, so fuck you, Zamęcki. Uh, this will not perform so good. So right now, I don't care that much about the number. I care more about the quality of the people that are following me. That's why I create a Discord server, because I think this is a really good way to bring the community together, and it feels more real, in a sense, and you will know that those people will see this artwork or whatever. I know I get sidetracked a bit with the question, but hopefully this somehow answer the question, or we can explore this a bit more.
I mean, we can go anywhere, but I thought maybe I wanted to dig into that 2D and 3D thing a little bit more.
Sure,
So
sure.
so if you're going to do your own project like this
Mhm.
animated series, like what kind of technique would you choose for that? If it was like a short animation,
Mhm.
would it be more of a traditional 2D animation or a modern 3D or a combination of two? Just like an experimental thing.
Gotcha. So I did this test last year. I mean, uh, I know where you're going with the question, so I will try to expand on this. So I always was on the crossroad between 2D and 3D with my artworks, and when the Blender Grease Pencil, sorry, came out, I was like super excited because it was like a perfect combination for me. I was feeling like they made this for me only. Because I know 3D, I know how to draw, so uh, drawing in 3D space was like a dream come true, and that's why I thought that I finally found a perfect pipeline for my uh, animations and stuff like that. And I start to exploring this, and I create this Cowboy Bebop animatic based on Born Identity script. And right now I'm doing another animatic based on Batman and Scooby Doo movie, which sounds terrible, but but I was taking a class with the storyboard artist slash director Jake Casterona. He direct few Batman and Superman movies, and he gave us this script, um, and based on that assignment from the class, I decided to expand this to the full animatic in Blender. And I hired a guy on Fiverr to do a voiceover. So yeah, so I always trying to build uh, uh, from the previous project to the next project. I try to bring the knowledge that I gather beforehand, and with Blender Grease Pencil, it's really great. I really love it. It's a perfect combination for me.
Yeah, I've just recently saw on social media a post from Blue Zoo Studios,
Hmm. Yeah,
a British studio that was doing like a short animation for some kind of a
yeah,
organization fighting youth suicides or something like that, and
yeah.
quite a compelling story. And it was using the Blender's capabilities, like both 3D. It was like rendered mostly as a 3D animation in Eevee, and then
Mhm.
some overlays in grease pencil, especially for some special effects like bubbles and
Yeah, yeah.
some
I mean,
additional stylized things.
there's a if you pay close attention to Grease Pencil development and who is using Blender right now and Grease Pencil, like there's uh, there's so much happening right now. Like the newest Evangelion movies was partially done in Blender and Grease Pencil, and they use the line art modifier to achieve a few elements. I saw a few episodes of like few shots from episodes of Boruto anime. Like there is a lot of uh, Japanese studios are implementing Blender to their pipeline because of the flexibility of 2D and 3D.
Yeah, that was kind of my guess when they introduced this new tool. That it was like the first time when like I'm following Blender for some time. Like I was starting
Yeah.
with the Blender 2.49 or so. So like the very ancient UI that scared
Which
everyone.
year is that?
I think it was around 2008 or so.
Okay, so yeah, I started in 2010, I think, and then I dropped it for a few years.
Yeah, because that was the time when most people like approaching Blender were having this experience like what is that strange software that has this scary, totally freaky UI, and they just mostly dropped it. Well, I kept it for a number of reasons. I was using it
Mhm.
for mostly for my interior design jobs then,
Mhm.
uh, and mostly because it was free, accessible, and
Exactly. Yeah.
that was the main reason. And it did the job for me, and I learned like 3D based on that mostly. Like I had different experiences, but like that's sidetracking. What I wanted to say that it throughout these years, like Blender always had this odium of this worse, hobby tool for maybe for youngsters who want to learn
Yeah,
something,
that's
but
true.
or for just like renegades who want to do everything on Linux and
Yeah.
be that open source purists, or but introducing like with the 2.80 Eevee was
Yeah.
one of the big shots, but I think like Grease Pencil was like even more of this kind of a thing, because Blender with the Grease Pencil was really doing something totally innovative. Like
Unique, yeah.
it was something that no other 3D DCC had. It was like a
That's true.
feature that was ahead, and that was the first time when Blender really kind of like went
Step up the
ahead.
game. Yeah.
Step up the game, and I think it's kind of rolls from there. Like the Grease Pencil is developed by a guy who's super passionate about 2D animation, I
2D
think,
animation. Yeah.
and you can feel it, right? It's just like with
Yeah,
the
definitely.
sculpting tools that had Pablo Dobarro jump into
Yeah.
the Blender project, and if someone passionate about that and also capable of working on a tool for that specific use
Yeah.
case, that just produces awesome results. So
In terms of like storyboarding, it's still not there yet. It's super hard right now for storyboarding, but yeah, it's definitely possible. It's not that streamlined like in Storyboard Pro or other like. I mean, the Storyboard Pro is an industry standard. Some people use Photoshop. I don't know how they do this, but for storyboarding, but whatever. But Blender, I feel like it's more a animatic tool than a storyboard tool. But I'm using this for my animatics because it's the only software right now that I have that I feel like I have a control when it comes to, because of the 3D nature. I can be I feel like I am a cinematographer with the camera, and with Eevee I have immediate feedback, and with 2D I can cheat some stuff. Instead of uh, doing 3D animation, I can draw frames, which is, as I said, it's a perfect combination for me.
yeah, so I wanted to ask a question, why Blender, but we kind of like almost
Yeah.
answered it. But you had also experiences with other software, like for example, I think Cinema 4D in the 3D
Yeah, I
world.
I started before my first job. I was in 1 year 3D animation and VFX course, and I learned Maya and Madbox and After Effects and Premiere at that time. And Maya is not my favorite software. It's like on the other spectrum.
Yeah, it's tough. It's
Uh,
complicated.
yeah, and then when I got my first job, we were using first 3ds Max, then Cinema 4D, and then Blender in the span of 2 years. Basically, we moved to Blender because it was free. And then I get fired, so you can understand how the company was prospering. uh, but yeah, and then I from Blender I moved to Modo because many concept artists were using Modo at that time, and I was like using this for 2 years or whatever. And then Octane was a thing because of the ray tracing, right?
Mhm.
They use GPU. So I learned Octane, but it turns out the best way to use Octane is to use Cinema 4D because the integration was best.
Mhm.
So I get back to Cinema 4D. But I was using this as a not bootstrap, but like I mainly use this because of the Octane render. And then it turns out the Octane is working with Blender, so I tried this for a bit, but the integration was not that great. But it was around that time when the EV came out and Cycles and Grease Pencil, so I moved slowly from Cinema 4D to back to Blender.
Yeah, and right now the Cycles X project is coming up
Yeah,
with the 3.0,
exactly.
so probably even better times ahead.
Yeah.
But why concept artists used Modo? This X project?
I think it was a marketing thing because one of the Rockstar concept artists used that, and he showed it was this thing called replicator in Modo. It was like basically particle system that was generated based on texture,
Mhm.
and you don't need to have a UVs, so you can quickly generate a lot of iteration. I mean, right now it feels super basics, and you can create this in every software, like in Houdini or in Blender with hair particles or whatever. But
Mm.
in 2014, I think it was like something that only Modo had, and then it snowballs down with other concept artists starting using Modo. It was a big trend because a lot of people that work in Naughty Dog uh, were working in Modo, so they were creating tutorials, and it was like a Gumroad boom around that time. So people are starting doing a lot of tutorials, and most of the tutorials were for Modo. So it snowballed uh, to people like concept artists started to using Modo without any other reason than the tutorials.
Huh. But what is for what jobs concept artists need 3D applications actually? Why did they use it?
3D applications?
Yeah, like Modo, for example, or Blender.
Mm, it's just faster to create a quick mock-up and then made a paint over in Photoshop than drawing from scratch everything. Like drawing perspective is for some it's impossible, for other it's super hard.
Mhm.
So 3D fixed this like instantly. So that's why uh, concept art is using 3D to save time, basically.
Yeah, so you create like this like general idea of some interior or some space, and then
Yeah, or character fighting or whatever. You take a random rig, you post this, you get the camera with dynamic angle and like 15 millimeter lens or whatever, and hit render or even print screen the viewport and paint over, and you are done.
So I imagine why EV is needed. So like it's a quick effect. You don't
Yeah,
need to.
yeah, definitely. Like I didn't share this yet, but I was working for Riot back in uh, February this year, and I create all my concepts inside of Eevee and Blender, and I didn't even touch Photoshop. I did some. I usually do some post effects like hazes, like grading and stuff like that, and I did this all in Blender Compositor, and I stuck some planes with haze and stuff like that. So it was only matter of rendering and sending new versions to the client.
So, but you render it, but also you paint over it, right? So it's like just
No, I didn't paint over. I didn't even paint it over.
so it's I thought that finally it has to be he has to like you need to give the vibe with your hand like drawing.
No, with Eevee, it's super quickly to change the lighting and such. So I didn't even have a issue with to paint over, because I'm so heavy on 3D as well. I can like cheat some stuff. It's not like a 3D animation that the camera will pan or whatever. But with 2D stills, they only care about the final look. And on top of that, as a bonus, they have uh, a 3D scene that they can use in some extent as a at least as a layout for the animation. So it's a win-win situation for them.
So in this case, what they need from you is like the camera placement, lighting, or
They get a few keyframes, like a concept of the. I mean, I can talk about it because I get green light from them yesterday, and it was for. Uh, I think they shared this cinematic month ago. What they need from me was uh, some kind of cathedral slash throne room for the character. It was like a abandoned, aged throne room and the throne itself. So the design of the throne and the throne room. So I make a few camera angles from this throne room, and I do a few iterations of the of the throne itself
so
for this project.
so it was Castlevania. This
No,
one.
it was for League of Legends
Ah,
cinematic. For Castlevania, it was like 2 years or 3 years ago that I did those images, and those images were done in Cinema 4D and Octane, and it was way more uh, paint over, like a heavy paint over uh, League of Legends. I will
mhm.
send you the cinematic in comments.
So
Uh,
did you choose the Octane because it was GPU or maybe some features?
yeah, it was fast. It was
Mhm.
fast, and the renders were realistic. So at that time, it was a really good software for such a things. So you can see the throne room
Mhm.
uh, around 2 minute mark, 2:13.
Mhm.
It happens a few times because the main area is like this foggy whatever mystical land, and the other location is the throne room. You can see the throne itself at 258. It's probably the most visible moment.
Because I noticed that in many works you have this light sources like glowing eyes,
Mhm.
and I remember that Octane had a very good. It worked very good in Octane. This kind of
Yeah,
effects,
yeah.
both rendering like this black body emission,
Mhm.
and there was
Yeah, that's
some
true.
post effects, which
Yeah, with
it's,
Bloom and yeah.
yeah.
But most of the stuff you can replicate right now in Eevee. I mean, it's not super accurate like Octane. I mean, right now the Cycle X is pretty close for me at least. I know they don't have volumetrics yet, but right now for like those really quick concept art, uh, uh, Eevee is enough for me.
Okay, so I
I'll be
guess
right back. Wait a second.
okay.
Hmm?
I guess whatever happens with the tools, as we heard, it's going to be changing all the time. But I guess the stories and the visuals count in the end all the time. It's kind of like more timeless.
Yeah.
And we might just cut it after recording, right?
That part, yeah.
And generally we'll be landing, I guess. Yeah? It's already I think more than an hour and a half. So let's keep it
Okay.
short. And we were talking about that before the recording with Matthias, that we can maybe, after publishing the whole episode, which is very long, and we were talking about this in the meeting, right? To create short excerpts of the podcasts and then use it on social media or whatever in other forms, like cut bits and pieces that are interesting.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, we were just talking about
Yeah, I heard.
landing.
I have Bluetooth speakers, so I
Okay,
heard everything.
great. So I was saying that the tools are changing, but what matters really
Yeah,
is the story, the visuals, and
I would say the story first, and then the artistic direction, and yeah, those are just the tools. They're getting better. That's great because they give us an opportunity to explore and do more stuff on our own and get quicker results with it. But yeah, in the end, what matters is the story.
Yeah, I can see that you uh, like very easily learn new tools and discard them when they are not needed. A lot of people would get
Yeah,
stuck in one program, but it's like Modo, Blender, Octane. Okay, I don't need
it's
Octane
like
anymore.
with life itself. It's the same thing. Like so, yeah.
so maybe
You know,
let's end it on a note, like if people want to follow you and your development, your
yeah.
artworks, and maybe possibly in the future some bits and pieces, and then the final
Mhm.
great IP that you will be releasing, or not,
Yeah.
that we'll find out, and
That's
hopefully we will see something spectacular.
thank you. Yeah.
Maybe say a few words when people can find you and follow you.
Uh, most I mean, it would be great if you guys post my link tree in the YouTube description, and from that, all the places are linked to this one link. And if you can't find the link, just type Mathias Zamęcki to Google, and most of the social media should have the same nickname. So it's pretty. I try to, as I said, I try to keep it simple, so so there is not confusion and like a path of least resistance.
Yeah, and I think it works. Like, the best proof is that it wasn't very hard for me to find you. Like you
Exactly.
kind of like popped in my feed somewhere, and I was interested because your artwork is really, really great.
Thank you.
Very inspiring, and it was a pleasure to have you here with us. And
It was a pleasure to chat with you guys. Thank you so much.
hoping that our audience will jump into your social media, follow, like, and share, and get inspired, right? And
Of course, that would be great. I'm super happy to be here. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Fingers crossed for your own short
Thank
movie.
you. Thank you.
okay,
Hopefully in the next 10 years.
yeah, or it might happen sooner, just like with your
Maybe.
art
We'll
director
see.
position.
Exactly.
You
We'll
never
see.
know.
Exactly.
Okay, so see you in the next episodes.
See you guys.
Cheers.